All right, well, thank you so much for joining us on another edition of Lush and Verdant by Denise N Verdant and Lush and Verdant Company. Well, we're starting out today with first using a primer and our normal diffuser brush. I'm following that up with Black Radiance's 8414. Next, I'm going to actually just make sure that it's buffed into the skin really well and to make sure that it has a clean, natural look. Now for my brows, I'm using Wet n Wild's dark brown. I find that pencils are easier to manipulate, and if you're pressed for time, which I usually am in the morning, it goes really, really well and really fast. Once I do this, I'll use a brush to kind of fill in those sparse hairs, and then I'll use concealer to define the brow and clean up any stray marks or hairs. Now the concealer I'm using is actually Fawn. It is LA Cosmetics. I'm going to actually use a flat shader brush to define it. Flat shader brushes are great with the little corners and small bristles, especially these e.l.f. brushes that just really clean up areas and define it. Then I'll blend down and actually use Ruby Kisses and Golden Glow to blend it out and also to set the concealer. Now I'm going in with that same concealer underneath my eyes. I'm using a foundation brush, and a pointy foundation brush is excellent for getting right underneath the eyes, especially if you just have little layers of skin like I do. I'm just going to pat the concealer in just to actually cover that entire area and make sure it doesn't bleed through. Then I'll blend using this foundation brush and a diffuser brush, as well as putting the Ruby Kisses powder in Golden Glow as well to better set my concealer. I'm now using a black shader brush to apply Xenia all over the base of the eyelid. This is going to give me a pop of color as well as some more. Now that I blended that in a bit, I'm actually going to take a different eye shader brush and I'm applying French Connection in the corner creases of my eye. French Connection is a bright shimmer, it's gold, and what it's going to do is it's going to really open my eye up, but it also blends well and works well with Xena. Now I'm actually going to take a soft brown matte color. This is Golden Girl in light, well, I'm sorry, medium. And what I'm doing is I'm actually just using it as a buffer between my highlight and my mid-tone color, and I'm also using it to blend out as well as define my nose. I'm using a blending brush to blend it real well. This will help with blending as well as just making sure that some clear lines are drawn. Now for some very clear definition, I'm going to use Grape. Now Grape is a really nice deep purple that I'm just using a tad bit of in order to really give me some shape and definition to the eye. Now because it's such a dark color and it's a matte color, it's a really good idea if you get really in there and blend. That way it will definitely define the eye, but it'll also work well with these colors, as well as you're able to kind of clean it up. And just for time purposes, I'm just actually using a big fluffy brush to kind of really blend it in, and then I'll just go back with some concealer and just clean that up a bit. So we see how easy it was to clean that up. And now I'm just going in with a brown pencil brush. And this is a dark brown. This is the same one that I use on my brows to actually kind of give the eye some more shape and definition. I'm just going through. You'll see that it's a little crooked, just a tiny bit, but I'll just go in with another concealer brush and actually just clean that up. And if I don't use a concealer brush, another alternative option is actually a flat shader brush with the color that I'm using on that side, to just kind of clean it up. This is more of a guide than just like a definite eye, so I'm just really going in more so for the color and the definition than the neatness, and I'll just clean it up later. Now, whether you choose to clean that up or not is entirely up to you. But I'm going to go in now in my highlight. I'm using that same concealer color with a flat shader brush that I used to clean up the eye spill, if you will, later. And I'm just drawing a color down the center of my eye, center of my face. And this is because this is where the light naturally hits. I'm blending it out with the foundation brush, so it just won't be a clear indicated line down the center of my eyes. And now I'm using my diffuser brush to blend that into the skin so that it's natural and it doesn't look like there was a mandatory line. I'm now going in with my Ruby Kisses color to be put inside the description box, and I'm going to actually go over every place that I put the concealer, and this is to set the concealer. As well as to make sure that it's all evenly blended, because sometimes powder upon powder works best. Now that I've used my diffuser brush to blend the powder onto the foundation, I'm now using a nice soft fan with Chocolate by Lush and Verdant. I'm using this to go back in and define my nose. You can do it so without using that defining color that we used earlier, and it will also still give you a nice definition. But this chance, I like to use the fan because it's a lot easier. Now what you saw before is me actually blending in our blush color that we blended in right on top of that highlight and contour. And that color we used there was our plum color. Now I'm going in with Golden Girl in Deep with a big, thick, fluffy brush. And this is just to kind of really give us that glow that we're looking for right before we put on our contour, which is what we're doing now. I'm using that same brush I used for my blush, because as you can see, I'm in a hurry, and I'm also using Chocolate by Lush and Verdant to define any areas I think need more contouring, in this look, especially because it's such a bronze look. Now it's on to the lip color. As you know, I'm in a hurry, so I'm using a MAC lip gloss. What I really like about this color is that it does have a bit of pigment in it, and so that orange color really comes through, and you can build it, and it'll actually become more orange and sparkly as you use it. But if you use just a small base layer, it actually complements any color or any shimmer at all, and it doesn't take away from the overall look. Well, there we have it. I'm going to add lashes, and then we're done.